From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and welcome to your MTN Noon News for this Tuesday. I'm Hailey, Monaco. We begin with continuing coverage out of Cascade County. A teen remains in the ICU after being seriously injured over the weekend, the result of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now the community is coming together to support her and her family during this difficult time. MTN's Brianna Juneau reports.
21-year-old Lauren Douglas Edwards Nichols is facing charges after deputies say he fired the shot that seriously injured 17-year-old Kirsten Ryan just after midnight on Saturday. Deputies responded to a report of a shooting at a property along U.S. Highway 87 Saturday night. When they arrived, they found Ryan suffering from a gunshot wound to the neck and chest area. Authorities say the injury caused a collapsed lung, but the teen was conscious and alert when she was treated at the scene and rushed to the Benefice Emergency Department, where she remains in the ICU. According to witnesses, a fight broke out involving 21-year-old Nichols. After initially leaving the scene, Nichols reportedly returned, escalated the situation, and displayed a firearm. During a confrontation, Nichols fired 2 shots, one of which traveled through a wall and struck Ryan as she tried to avoid the gunfire. Roughly an hour later, Nichols called dispatch, admitted to the shooting, and claimed that the dispute began over accusations that someone had taken his firearm magazine. He was found shortly after at J.C. Park in Great Falls. Deputies recovered the weapon and a loaded magazine, and Nichols was arrested without incident. We reached out to friends and family of Kirsten Ryan, but haven't received a comment at this time. Nichols is charged with felony criminal endangerment, but prosecutors say more charges are possible once the investigation is complete. The investigation is still ongoing. A GoFundMe has been set up to help Ryan's family with medical bills. We have a link on our website. In Great Falls, Brianna Juneau, MTN News.
In an update in Missoula, we now know the name of a woman whose body was found in an irrigation ditch last week. The Missoula County Sheriff says the woman is identified as 38-year-old Leah Hartley of Missoula. Deputies say she was found in the waterway near Grant Street and South 6th Street West last Wednesday. Detectives say they've done multiple interviews and searched Hartley's apartment, but are not releasing any further details. The case is still being investigated as a homicide until deputies say they can prove otherwise to preserve evidence. Anyone who has information about the case is asked to contact Missoula Police or Crime Stoppers. On Sunday in Gallatin County, several calls were made to 911 about Nazis standing on the 19th Avenue overpass. Deputy Chief of Bozeman Police Joseph Swanson says police responded to 3 men standing on the sidewalk. He says callers reported the signs said "Self-deport while you can" and "White Lives Matter." Swanson says no action was taken as the men were exercising their First Amendment rights and did not block the roads.
The officers had determined on scene is that while maybe the signs were unpleasant to some who had come by, they weren't illegal in the sense that these people were expressing their opinions.
Deputy Chief Swanson encourages people to call the police. If you step outside today, you will likely see it. Smoke is a big headline in the forecast this afternoon. A recent report by the American Lung Association warns that nearly half of Americans are breathing dangerous air. 156 million people, or about 46% of the U.S., now live in areas with unhealthy air. That's 25 million more than last year. California tops the list for the worst air quality. The biggest culprits are extreme heat, wildfires, and drought, all conditions seen across Montana. As of this week, the Magic City's air quality index is at a moderate level, with it expected to stay that way for the next few days. Experts say small daily choices like driving less can make a big difference. And with wildfire season still very much underway, healthy officials urge you to check your local air quality alerts and take precautions when you are outside. And with the latest on what to expect if you are heading outside, here's meteorologist Jason Stiff.
We would love to wash out some of that haze and smoke out of the air. Thankfully, some rain showers are pushing into far western Montana. I'll talk more about that coming up in a few minutes, but let's look at the air quality itself right now in the noon hour. It is far from ideal. However, it's not as bad as it was a couple days ago. Had many locations in the unhealthy category, but about half to 2/3 of Montana, northern Wyoming in the moderate air quality category. The rest in green. Good. That's where we want it to be. But which direction is that smoke and haze going? Well, we're still going to have plenty of it from this afternoon through this evening, overnight tonight. But the good news is we have some southerly airflow moving our direction, which will reduce the amount of haze and smoke in the air. Our forecast with chances for rain coming up in a few minutes.
Now time for today's leading look as we follow some of the other stories making headlines. The Billings city manager is among several vying for a new job out of the state. On Monday, a fellow Scripps station in Michigan's Ottawa County reports that the Board of Commissioners there whittled down their finalists for the county's next administrator, narrowing the group down to 5, including Kukulski. This is the third time Michigan's Ottawa County has interviewed candidates for the administrator role, which has been open since February 2024. As of now, Kukulski has served as Billings city manager since November 2018. The Absorki Elementary School Board voted last night whether or not to keep a historical site in the community. For now, those in attendance tell MTN News that the board rescinded that vote. In 2019, the Sandstone School closed after more than 100 years of education. Since then, the Save the Sandstone Committee has raised more than $350,000 in an effort to keep the school from being demolished. Their goal? Turn the building into a community learning center and preserve history. Back in May, while much of Montana gathered to honor Memorial Day, members of the 120th Airlift Squadron in the Montana Air National Guard were preparing for something different. That weekend, they deployed overseas to support allies within the U.S. Africa Command Area of Responsibility. On Saturday, those same airmen stepped off the plane into the arms of friends and family who have counted down the days since their departure. The flight line was filled with homemade signs, American flags, and eager embraces, closing the distance between families across the state. The department was part of an ongoing mission to support operations abroad, a reminder of the Guard's role both at home and overseas. The 24th anniversary of 9/11 is on Thursday. It's a day for remembrance, but it's also a time many come together and help others in their community. In Billings, First Interstate Bank is hosting their 8th annual Volunteer Day, where more than 400 employees give their time to give back. MTN's Isabel Spartz spoke to one local nonprofit on how the assistance can help propel them forward.
There's a saying that goes,
many hands make light work.
One that rings true at Gratitude in Action.
We go out to pick up clothing and furniture, and it's nice to give back to the community.
David Brock is one of the many volunteers doing just that at the thrift store that helps promote drug recovery and sober living.
Personally, it's a good accomplishment knowing that you're here to volunteer and help and no expectation of anything.
His hours at the store are court-ordered, but that doesn't make him feel that this work is any less meaningful.
It's given me a new appreciation for people that are having a hard time. We need to open our hearts a little bit more.
As far as volunteers, we average about 4,600 volunteer hours a month.
Co-founder Terry Todd relies on those many hands.
Our staff can get basic day-to-day things done, but when it comes to the larger projects, it's really nice to get a lot of hands on deck.
It's why her nonprofit is one of 42 community partners, all a part of First Interstate Bank's annual Volunteer Day on Wednesday that falls around 9/11. 400 employees will stop work for the day and assist with 59 projects.
Lots of people like collective impact, and so they'll come out together to have a day of giving. And so it works out great that it happens to be this week.
A day of service, but also a day to remember those who've sacrificed everything.
9/11 was a really sad time in our world. And what we know is that we can remember that by giving back to the communities that have supported us.
So whether it's this week or in your spare time, Todd and Brock encourage those who can get out to do so and give back.
It helps you network. It helps you have an accomplishment besides just sitting on the couch.
Find out where you can give, because change makes our world so much better. It is by giving that we receive.
In Billings, Isabel Sparts, MTN News.